Hey guys, it's Sarah with ExtremeTerrain.com, and today we have a review and install of the Rugged Ridge black textured tube doors fitting your 07 to 18 Jeep Wrangler JK. These are perfect for the Jeep owner who wants to replace their factory doors and is looking for a tube door option that leaves nothing between them and the trail. These tube doors are constructed from 1.5-inch mandrel bent steel tubing with a textured black powder coat finish. These tube doors also include a locking door latch, which some other options do not. Now, this may not seem like a necessity with a door so open to the air, but they're more for the prevention of the theft of the actual door than of anything inside the vehicle. This matters especially when the doors are as light and easily removable as these are. These locking latches keep them securely on your Jeep. These tube doors also include adjustable nylon door straps, as well as mounting hardware to mount up your factory manual mirrors, where some other options do not have a mounting point or they make you purchase the hardware separately. Now, I do want to mention, because our Jeep is a Sahara, it has powered mirrors. We can't mount those up without modifying further to accommodate the wiring harness. However, if you have your factory manual mirrors, those will bolt right up. I also want to mention that the front and the rear doors are sold in pairs, so the front and the rears are sold separately. These are for our two-door Wrangler friends, so they can purchase the fronts only. So as far as price goes, the pair of doors comes in at around $400, which is low to middle of the road price-wise when compared to other options. And for your money, you're getting a tube door with a ton of features that is still going to save you some money over more expensive options. I'm giving this install a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. These doors do require a bit of assembly before they can bolt to the Jeep, but all in all, it can be done in around 30 minutes. So with that said, let's jump into our install. For this install, you will need an impact gun or a ratchet, a T45 Torx socket, a 13mm socket, a trim panel removal tool, and a 13mm wrench. Alright, so the first step in the uninstall of our doors is to grab a T45 Torx socket, and we're going to remove the bolts holding on the hinges. This should also come in your hardware kit if you have one of those. Let's grab our socket and let's get this off. Using your socket, pull off this threaded nut on the bottom of the hinge. Alright, so the next step is to unplug this wiring harness here. Follow it from your door underneath. There should be a gray plug. Press down on the tab and pull it out. Now you can unhook this safety here. Give your door a little bit of slack, that should help out. And unhook it. All right, at this point we can grab our door and lift it off the hinges. For our rear door, we need to remove this panel section right here. You can either pop it off by hand or use the trim panel removal tool, and it will either just hang right here or you can remove it completely. Now you can see the wiring harness that has to come out. There's a smaller clip than the front. Just press down on the tab and remove. Put some slack in your door and you can lift this harness off of the hinge in here. It's the same hook as the front. All right, now you can remove the 2 threaded nuts on the bottom here with your T45 Torx. All right, so once your hardware is removed from the hinges and your wiring harness is unplugged, you can grab and remove this door. I think it's a little bit easier with the window rolled down. All right, with your front and rear doors removed, you want to repeat that process on the other side. All right, so at this point, before we can get our doors installed, we need to mount up the hinge hardware. And to do this, you're just gonna grab this piece of hardware right here and line it up with the bracket that's already on the door. Make sure that it's going out and a little bit in front of it so that it lines up with the hinge on the Jeep. We're using the included hardware and threading it through the holes. Now we're gonna snug these but not tighten them down all the way because we need to make sure they line up nicely with the Jeep. And if they're even just slightly off either way, they may not go into the hinges. So again, just snug these for now and we will tighten them down once it's installed on the Jeep. We're using a 13mm wrench and a 13mm socket to snug these down. Just keep in mind this is a lock nut, so it may feel like it's getting tight before it actually does. Repeat that with the other hinge. Repeat that process for our rear doors. Line up the hinges on the factory hinges of your Jeep. Now it wouldn't hurt to lube these up a little bit, especially if they don't want to go in. It'll cut down on noise down the line. Once your hinges are in, make sure that your latch is unlocked. Repeat that process with the rear door, lining up both of your hinges. Making sure this is unlocked and lining up the latch. All right, so we're gonna take a break real quick to check out these tube doors compared with our factory doors. And as you can see, they couldn't be more different. These tube doors feature a tubular construction. They have a nice textured black powder coat finish. The look is completely different from your factory doors. However, you do get to keep some of the nice features of your factory doors. They have a locking latch. They do include brackets to use your mirrors, and they also come with this handy safety strap, which we can get installed right now. So let's jump back into our install. All right, so we're gonna install our safety strap now. This is kind of neat because there is more than one opening to here, so you can make them open as wide or as close as you'd like. We're just gonna install them on the most farthest out opening to the door, as well as to the factory anchoring point. All right, so now we're gonna close our door, and you wanna make sure your latch is in the open position when we do so that I can grab the latch on our Jeep. You may have to lift up a little bit on this to get it to engage because again, the hinges are not tight yet. All right, so at this point, we're gonna install the nylon lock nuts on the bottom of these threads here. And with a 13mm socket, tighten it down. Now with your 13mm socket and 13mm wrench, tighten these down. All right, now I can repeat that on our rear door, installing the strap. And replacing this plastic cover. All right, repeat that on the rear door. You want to make sure this latch is open and the door is shut. Thread your nylon lock nuts onto the bottom of each of these threads on the hinge. Grab your 13mm socket and tighten these down. All right, now you can grab your 13mm wrench and 13mm socket and tighten down the bolts going from the hinge to the door. All right, so that is gonna do it for the review and install of these tube doors. And remember, for all things Jeep, keep it at ExtremeTerrain.com.